What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here today. Something a little different. I am recording this well in the past. I have been selected to take part in PSA's comic soft launch. So I am sending these in to be graded before the general public has access to it. I am not sure when I'm going to get these back. I am sending these off in the very early summertime, late spring, early summer, and should have them back in hand mid to late summer. Depending on when you're watching this, I guess you know I don't. So I had the opportunity to submit either raw books or stuff for crossover. Now, I don't have a ton of raw books, so I thought crossover would be more interesting. So I'm going to show you what I'm sending in here, and then we are going to jump cut, assuming I don't lose this video clip, to the actual results. So let's move through these quickly. It's nothing super exciting, but let's take a look. You're going to notice a theme here. I wanted to send in some ultra modern stuff that was easily replaceable. So first up, and actually all four of these, I am sending in a Jim Lee X-Men set in CGC 9/8. So I'm sending these for crossover. I am not having these pressed. And we will see if they come back as 9/8s, 9/6s, 9/4s, 10s, who knows? But these four are going in. And then I wanted to do something at least semi-spicy and something a little bit older. So I went through my stuff and I found that evil influencer Swagglehos FOMO'd me into buying a comic many years ago that I now have drastically overpaid for, those damn influencers. Avengers 8, first appearance of Kang in a CGC 3/5, white pages, actually a very nice presenting copy. It does have some pretty serious creases. It's got some tanning, a little bit of staining on it. It is a 3/5. This goes for about $200 as of time of recording. But I thought this would look really good in a PSA label. It's got a lot of white. It's got the red on the Avengers, red in some of the suits. I just thought that this would look really good in a PSA label. So we're sending this one in. And I also just kind of wanted to see how they would handle something lower grade. So this is a 3/5. I did select the pressing option for this one. Now, I am 98% sure this book has already been pressed just by looking at it. You can kind of tell. However, it's been in this holder for God knows how many years now. I forget when the grade date on this one, but I've owned this for at least 2 or 3 years, and it was graded quite a ways before that. So we're going to send this one in. I selected the pressing option on this one. Now, the real question, how did these turn out? Let's cut to future me. Hello, future me. And see what this return looks like. Why, thank you, past me, future me, or present me here now, back from the National. And of course, my books show up while I was at the National. So we have them here. I know the grades already because anyone that watches the channel knows that I cannot resist waiting for grades to come in. I should note, because I did not mention this in the early section of the video, so I'll just head off any of these comments now. I paid for these myself. I can show you the credit card receipts if you want. The only thing that I got special was early access to submit. I sent these off a couple of weeks before the general public got access to them. That was the only thing that I got. I paid out of pocket for these. I will show you the credit card receipts if you do not believe me. One thing, shout out to the shipping. They send them in these individual bags, which is nice because it helps prevent the books getting scratched up. in the cases from rubbing off of each other. And they also have a tearaway, which is also nice to help protect the books. So, one, it's a lot heavier. We don't need to tread old ground there. The case itself is heavier. I do have a CGC book present. We'll do some comparisons here in a minute, but this should be the same size as a CGC case. So, like I said, I know the grades. These are the X-Men ones. And sorry, I never have the best camera setup for this. And I did crossovers. Like I said, these were all 9/8 crossed over to PSA. And I put no min grade on these. So I wanted them crossed regardless of what they were going to get. So this one came back a 9/8, but we have an exceptionally white pages on this one. I know, the PSA label, hot button thing around the internet. This one actually I think looks pretty good in the PSA label. Case feels extremely premium. That is my number one takeaway. This is actually the first time I have held the new Gen 2 case. I saw them in person at the National, but it is the first time that I've seen it. I am also looking to see no Newton rings on the front, maybe a few on the back. They're very hard to see. There was like one or two, and it might just be because they just came out of the packaging. But the front, I see no Newton rings at all. So that's the first one. So we went from a 9/8 white pages to a 9/8 exceptionally white pages. The exciting one will be the Avengers 8. Like I said, I do like the film. There's something kind of therapeutic about peeling that off. Back, once again, I don't know how well this is showing up. There's a little tiny Newton ring right there, but nothing super crazy. Front looks good. And once again, we got another 9/8, and I'm not gonna lie, this book in particular looks really, really good in this slab. One of my favorite pieces of artwork, the Magneto 1 Jim Lee cover. And this one just got a regular white pages, not the exceptionally white. And the slabs do stack. They do interlock with each other. So kind of like a PSA card slab. And I'm just casually throwing things over the corner. And I guess spoilers, you could see the grade on the back. So a lot of the information on the label is on the back. And then some of the information is on the front. Kind of just depends what you're looking for. And once again, like I said, it spoiled it. We had a 9/8 here. And like I said, I did not choose the pressing option on these. I just did a straight crossover. So no idea. Maybe if I would have pressed it, maybe they would have bumped to a 10-0. I doubt it. And one more of these, and then we get to the fun one. And this one's interesting because it's actually in a different size case as well. A lot of the vintage books are square bound and take up a little bit more space in the holder, and I'm guessing that is why they went that direction, but I do not know for sure. And once again, just not to bury the lead here, but we got another 9/8 on the fourth one, and just regular white pages again. So 4 9/8, 1 white pages, 1 extremely white pages. Now, before we move on to this last one, just to kind of show you, this is one of my all-time favorite covers, the X-Men 11 in a CGC 9/8 white pages, but this is the Pressman variant. Very rare in a 9/8, pretty tricky to track down, and pretty expensive as well. So, These are basically the exact same size. Maybe slightly thicker. Ever so slightly thicker. But these would fit in a BCW bin, I assume, exactly the same as a CGC book would. Now, here's the fun one. This was a CGC 3.5. And I will, at some point in time here, towards the end, I will flash up. One of the reasons why I wanted to pick something old, I was very interested in what the graders notes, how they would compare from the CGC book to the PSA book. I posted these on Instagram, so you may have seen these already on there. But a wild difference on the graders notes. This one, I did opt for the pressing service. So there is the back. And like I said, this one is in a slightly larger case. Probably because it's square bound. I'm not 100% sure. But this is in a little bit of a larger case. So we'll compare it to the other one here in a second. And this one got a 4.0. So we did get a half grade bump. Still came back white pages. We could still see there's that crease that I showed off that corner in the first video. A press is not getting that out. Like I said, I think this book had been previously pressed. You could usually tell. But once again, for a 4.0, this presents really, really well. Looks really, really nice. Great looking 4.0. And I, once again, think it looks good with this label. You got the white and the red cover. I may have been very selective on what I sent in because I thought it would play well off of the label in the holder. So you can see this book has a lot of creasing along the edge there. She was well loved. Someone really liked Kang back in the day and probably read the hell out of this. But, like I said, this case, just so everyone's aware, is slightly bigger. So you can see there, it's a little bit taller, a little bit wider. I don't know. I wonder if this is the exact same size as the Gen 2 case. Please hold. As I have a Gen 2 case, or I'm sorry, a Gen 1 case right here. This is the San Diego Comic-Con promo that they did last year. I bought one of these off eBay just to have laying around. And yep, lo and behold, it is the same size, actually stacks, with that Gen 1 case. It might not be exact, but it's pretty darn close to the old Gen 1 case. So my guess is, depending on what you send, if they don't feel comfortable putting it in one of the smaller cases, they're going to give it a little room to breathe. Now, I am not sure what causes it to jump from one case to the next, how that decision's made. I'm sure some people will probably be okay with that. I am sure some people will probably not like that because it's going to be a different size from the rest of their collection. I can see people going both ways. I would rather have the book fit comfortably in the case than they try to cram it into something that they don't feel is going to work. But like I said, I don't know the rhyme or reason for when it switches to a different size case. So this one is a little bit heavier, slightly larger. Once again, I don't see any Newton rings on this one either. So I know that some people had noticed those. Like I said, a couple of the X-Men ones, I did notice some on the back, but I am not really noticing any on the front of any of these books, and I don't even notice any on the back at this one. So like I said, I'll pop the graders notes up while we're chatting about this on either side of the screen so you can see it. I got to give them credit where credit's due. They crushed the graders notes on this thing. Way more detailed than the CGC notes. So that is nice to see. We'll see if they keep up on that. I did look. The 9/8 do not have graders notes. They have no, where it shows the graders notes. There's just nothing there. public, and this is a difference for the card folks out there, in the comic books, the graders notes are public information. When you look one of the cert numbers up, so if you want to look this book up, there is the certification number right there. If you look that up, you will be able to see the graders notes for yourselves. In trading cards, you cannot do that. The graders notes are private. Why they are for comics and not for cards, I don't know. I'm guessing it's because it's more accepted in comic books. That's what folks want, is the graders notes being public. The other thing that is not live yet, and I actually talked to them about this at the National, and they know that they need one and they are actively working on it, is a population report. That is not live yet. Tech stuff is what they told me, and hopefully that should be up, at least in some shape or form, soon, because that is definitely something that is much, much needed. So we will see when they can get that up and running as well. So still in the early days in the PSA comic book world, but very happy with these results. These all went exactly kind of as I expected. They're a little surprised with the extremely white pages. And then this one, a little half grade bump up. But like I said, the real test here was I was very interested to see how the graders notes would look between the two different companies, and mission successful on that one. I do wish that they could get them in the same size case. That is slightly annoying as well, but I guess that is what it is. So some things to keep in mind if you're going to be grading with PSA. The label honestly doesn't bother me, at least as is. I'm kind of indifferent towards it. I prefer the CGC label, but this one I'm not going to go rage bait on the internet about it. Now, maybe I changed my mind on that. I think I might actually display the Magneto book behind me for a little bit, just to kind of get a feel for it and kind of live with it and see how that is. But like I said at the top, the cases feel way more premium in hand than a CGC case. I am not concerned at all about something bad happening to the book in these cases at all. So that's a great review. Curious for your thoughts and comments down below on this one. Will you be sending them anything? I know they got a ton of magazine submissions at the National for drop-off grading, and so far I think they've been pretty busy. And most of the videos I've seen online have been pretty positive about the experience. These were shipped extremely well. Like I said, I like that they put them in a plastic bag. I like the wrap that you peel off of it. Anything that helps protect the slab as much as possible during shipping, I think is a smart move. So these things were well packaged. It took me forever to get the boxes open to do the reveal. So fire off in the comments down below with your thoughts on the label, the case, if you've gotten a chance to hold one yet. I don't know if I'm going to send them anything else for now or not. I do have 2 autograph books that I want to send in that would look fantastic in these slabs, but they're not doing autograph books yet. I believe later in the year, hopefully in the fall, they will have that up and running. Maybe by the time New York Comic Con comes around and I could drop those books off in person. That would be fantastic. The other question that I've gotten a lot is, what about magazines and programs? I don't know the exact dimensions off the top of my head, but you could go look at the website and you can, if it basically, their rule of thumb is if it fits in the case, they will grade it. So as long as it's not something super crazy, they should be able to grade it and slab it up for you, whether it's a Super Bowl program or whatever. The magazine cases, I believe, are delayed for a couple of months with all the tariff nonsense and some other supply chain stuff. So regular comic book orders are processing right now. Full magazine holders, which I saw a prototype version at the National. It's a little bit different than this one because a lot of magazines are obviously a lot larger, a lot thicker. That thing's probably a tank, but you know that when you're submitting a magazine in. That is all I got for you, boys and girls. As always, curious for your thoughts and comments down below. Catch you on the next one. Peace.